Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be teaching you how to do a fakie on a free coaster. So fakies on a free coaster are really similar to a cassette. The only difference obviously is that you aren't going to have to pedal backwards, but as far as balancing goes, it's a little bit different, but it doesn't take too long to learn. Pretty much the main difference is obviously you aren't going to have to pedal backwards, and whenever you do turn out of it, you're not going to have that bit of crank pressure to stop your back tire and help you turn it around. But there's easy fix to that, and I'll show you how to do that. So if you are just learning to fakie on a free coaster and you skip doing it on a cassette, I do have a few extra little tips for that, and I'll do those right now. Okay, so if you're just learning how to fakie, the first thing you're going to want to do is get comfortable rolling backwards, obviously. And this is a lot easier to do on a free coaster than it is a cassette, because you can just roll backwards. So the easiest way to do this and get comfortable doing it is find some flat ground. Make sure you have, alright, so you're going to want to put your dominant foot, which is your front foot, all the way down, and make sure all of your slack, you have all your slack, because you don't want to engage and then flip over the back. So there you go, half crank forward. And this is really easy, and you can't do this on the cassette, so it makes it really nice. And you're just going to go like this, and then just kind of try to balance it out. This is just to get you comfortable going backwards, because I remember when I started learning 180s and fakies and stuff, going backwards without seeing what was behind me really scared me, and I didn't really like it. But once you get comfortable doing that and just getting over that, I guess that little bit of fear, that not everybody has that fear, but if you do, that'll really help. And then once you get comfortable doing that, if you do want to try to step it up a little bit, give yourself 2 or 3 pushes, and then put your other foot on. And then just keep trying to do that. This is really easy to learn, just how to do that, and get you comfortable going backwards. And then once you want to do that, if you want to start in 2 feet, find a curb. I'll turn the camera real quick. You'll want to find a curb just like this. This really works out because it's kind of sloped downwards, so it'll help me speed up a little bit backwards. And you'll go up, and you'll be wanting to roll pretty slow at the curb. All you're going to do, put your front tire on. Some people do this differently. Whenever I did it, I didn't pick up my back tire, but if you want to, you can go pick up your back tire a little bit and then fakie backwards. I think actually lifting up your front tire a tiny bit does help, because if your body does move a little bit, whatever your front tire hits, then whenever you put your back tire down, whenever it lands, it'll help you turn out of it. So I'll show you a quick example. So just keep doing that and keep going backwards. I'll teach you the turnout here in just a minute, but the main thing I want you to get comfortable first is just rolling backwards and learning how to kind of just turn your bike a little bit. So start trying to turn a little bit left and hold that, and then start trying to turn a little bit right and then hold that too. Okay, so the first step to understanding how to do a fakie on a free coaster is understanding how a free coaster works. So I personally have the Primo Free Mix, and I love it. It has about a 1/4 crank of slack, which I think is really good, because if you ever do a big gap or something like that, you land and your pedal does go forward a little bit, you're not going to catch and get flung right off the back. So for a free coaster, there's slack, which is how much room you have before your hub engages. So I'll put mine all the way down. So what I do whenever I'm pedaling, this is just for any trick, just so I am set up for 180 or a fakie anytime that I want, is I'll be pedaling, and whenever I'm done pedaling and I'm at the speed I want to be, I'll make sure I end my pedal down here and then bring it back up to 90 or flat. This way you do have the maximum amount of slack. You can adjust the slack on certain hubs, but this one you can't, but I think this is the perfect amount. So whenever you're about to go do a fakie, you need to get in the habit of doing this, because if you do end up pedaling just like this and do it like that, whenever you try to do a 180, it's going to be just like a cassette, and it's going to start rolling backwards. So that's the first thing you need to get used to doing, is making sure you pedal all the way down and then bring your pedal back up. That way you have the maximum amount of slack. Alright, so once you're comfortable going backwards, you can do the push off the curb, or you can just 180 into it, however you want to do it, and know how to go backwards. Turning out is the hardest part about this, for sure. So on a cassette, it is a little easier to learn. So if you do have access to a cassette, you can try it on that, because you can put that little bit of crank pressure, and then that'll stop your back wheel, and you can kind of rotate your bike around. But on a free coaster, you don't have that. So on a free coaster, the way I'd recommend doing it is probably a slider. So I'll show you what that looks like. So the easiest way to turn out on a free coaster is, I think, is kind of a slider, which is where you'll turn half the way, pick up your tire a little bit, and then most of the time you'll slide your back tire across the ground for the last maybe 15 to 20 degrees of it or something like that. This can be a little tricky to learn, but what you'll do is here, I'll show you a quick example and talk over it. If you want to turn out to your left, like that way, I'll turn my bars to the right, and then that'll start the rotation this way. And then once you get to about maybe 20 degrees or so, you'll feel it when you have to turn, or else you'll either fall one way or the other, or you'll just keep kind of going backwards. And once you get to that point, you want to lean back a little more and then pick up your tire and start turning the other way. And you'll want to rotate maybe part of the way around, and then your tire's going to hit again. Most of the time you'll be able to slide it just that little bit. But if you're not able to slide it, I'll show you what that looks like. So the way I just showed you is I didn't do a slider at all. I just picked it up and moved it all the way around. You can do that too. It's pretty much just however you feel comfortable with. That'll probably be the most comfortable way to do it at first. But then once you start doing sliders, the key to them is just making sure your butt's really low and kind of far back. That way there's as little weight as possible on your front wheel. And then once you start wanting to do half cabs, pretty much the same thing as I said earlier. You aren't going to have that luxury of being able to put pedal pressure and being able to pop yourself around. You'll just have to start turning, go to about 15 to 20, and then you'll pick up your wheel like that, and you'll hop and turn like this. So the way to learn these and do the turnout and learn all that is however you feel most comfortable. If it's rolling backwards off a curb, do that. If you do want to do 180 into it, do a G-turn out of it, go up a quarter and fakie backwards, do whatever you can do, just as long as you feel however you feel most comfortable. So as far as faking on a free coaster, that's pretty much it. Just make sure you have all your slack out, and then this is definitely one of the hardest tricks to learn in BMX, just because it's a lot different than pretty much anything you'll ever do on your bike, just because you are going backwards instead of forwards. Everything's opposite, so it'll just take a lot of practice and repetition, but the more you practice it, the easier it'll get and the more fun they'll be. Alright, so that's pretty much it. If y'all have any other questions or anything, just let me know. Thanks for watching.